I like the book DoGSONG. It's a three-time Newbery Honorable author, Gary Paulsen. He made the books Hatchet, Woodsong, Dancing Carl, and Tracker. I like this book because because it has very good characters, amazing characters. It has a never-ending plot, and if and it has a very, very strong theme. Something was bothering Russell in the book. He's like, something is bothering me, and then his dad said something about Jesus, and then he's like, you go visit Ugruk, and then Ugruk tells him about the old times, and that's what was bothering Russell. He wanted the old times to come back, where there was animal songs, lots of weapons with bows and arrows, and killing lances, but not the regular like guns, .22 rifles or muskets. It's like the bows and arrows, like the very old fashioned. And there's no snowmobiles. Russell hates the snowmobiles. But one day, like, Russell's going hunting for Ugruk, but then one day to catch some seals. But one day, Ugruk wanted to come too. But once they got to the place, Ugruk said, "Leave, Russell," and Russell left. But he didn't want to leave, so he came back. But when he came back, he found Ugruk dead. So like that was the start of his amazing adventure, surviving through the wilderness. And they go like hunt some bears, hunt some ptarmigans, caribou. They found a herd of caribous, but every night, every night, he had a dream a dream of his future. Him, Nancy as his wife, two kids that eat very red meat. And first, Russell didn't know what the meat was in his dream, but then he figured, and then he was like, "That's woolly mammoth meat." It's like, woolly mammoth? Wow, there's no woolly mammoth in our time, so that must be really, really really into the future. And then, like, every day, like every night, he had this dream, and then but then one day, he saw snowmobile. One day in a storm, he saw snowmobile tracks. The tracks were like, the tracks were like a regular snowmobiles, because that's what snowmobile is. All snowmobiles are the same. But then the tracks ended. He saw a snowmobile, and then he figured it ran out of gas, and then he saw footprints, like someone walking like into the snow, like trudging it into the snow. But then once he followed the footprints, he saw a woman that was laying there. He decided to bring her in. But once he brought her in, he saw her breathing, and he's like, she's not dead. She was dying though, so they brought her in, fed her like lots of meat. She got kind of strong, but she still had hypothermia. Then Russell found out that the woman was pregnant. So then, like, the baby, like a few days after she laid the baby, but then Russell, like, the woman told him, get the baby out, because the baby was dead, because she was like, before she was tortured by the cold, so the baby's inside her, so he feels warmth, but he also feels lots of cold. So then the baby was dead, and then he threw the baby into the snow, and then like he was like, I need to find you meat. And he goes out for like days. He first says, don't leave this tent. And then she's like staying there in the tent. He goes out for meat, and then he goes. He has this killing lance. He has the bow ready, but he finds nothing, no tracks. But then, after 6 days, he finds polar bear tracks, and then he's like, "That polar bear must be dead." Nah. But then the dogs smell it, so he's like, "It must be real." And then the dogs are so crazy, they just go like, ruff, 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 ruff. He ties the one dog out, and then once he get there, he saw the dog just like going like ruff, 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 and the polar bear bit his back so hard that he died. He died before he could scream. The dog could scream. And then all the dogs were so crazy. And then the polar bear saw Russell. Then the dogs were not really kind of. The polar bear didn't pay attention to the dogs. He wanted Russell. So then Russell got the killing lance, and at the exact moment the polar bear charged, Russell stabbed the bear, and then he felt so tired he like fell down Russell. But then the polar bear also died, so he fell down too on top of him. After he woke up, he saw the dogs chewing the polar bear's bottom, like the butt of it, and then he was laying and he had covered with blood. He was covered with blood because Russell was covered with blood because the polar bear was on top of him. The blood was dripping out where the killing lance, and the killing lance was still in the polar bear. And then he brought the meat back, and then he found Nancy still waiting. She was as pale and cold as a ghost. She was like a skeleton, skinny as a skeleton. And then Nancy was like, "I thought you'd never come," but then he came and they fed her some meat. But then that's when he found out she had hypothermia. So then Russell and Nancy went like to the doctor, like went to a village, like in the doc, and then tried to find a doctor. But I hope she found a doctor. I hope he found a doctor, but then never mentioned that they found a doctor together. So just the end of the book. Then at page 176 and 177, it's like they're singing, and like he sang his dog song because he promised Ugruk that he'd make a dog song. It goes like this: "Come see my dogs, see them in the smoke of my life, in the eyes of my children, in the sound of my feet, the dance of my words. I stand on earth and I sing. Come see my dogs are what lead me, they are what move me. See my dogs in the steam of my life. They are me. Come see my dogs. I was nothing before them, no man and no wife. Without them, no life, no girl, woman breathing, no song. Come see my dogs. With them I ran north to the sea. I stand by the sea and I sing. I sing of my hunts and of Ugruk. Come see my dogs. Out before me they go. Out before me they curve. In the long line out before me, they go, I go, we go, they are me. So that's like the song he made. And yeah, end of story. Bye. Today's book podcast is Dog Song by Gary Paulsen.